This guy, I like his body. No homo, I like his body. What? You would never catch me saying that. There were a lot of people that weren't actually even doing anything. Honestly, I don't regret it because I did create a lot of great memories doing that. Thought that I was gonna get it, had a whole freak out about it. What is up, my good people? Welcome into 2025. In this video, I'm gonna break down my top learning lessons from 2024, and I'm also gonna break down my 2025 goals with you guys so you can hold me accountable. First and foremost, I wanna explain what I believe is my mission currently in my life. All right, so I wrote this the other day. To achieve human excellence by being my best self mentally, financially, spiritually, relationally, and physically. To inspire others to strive for excellence and not settle for mediocrity. I really want to be an example of human excellence or pursuing human excellence in all areas of life. I want to lead as an individual who can be an example on striving for excellence in those areas of life. And more selfishly, I want these videos to be an example for my future kids. And when I'm 80 years old and I'm on a rocking chair and I'm reflecting back on my life, I want to rewatch these videos as well. And hopefully you guys take away and learn something from this too. I really went balls to the wall for 2025 game planning this year. Like, I've never done this before. This is my whole entire game plan for 2025 for my business. Printed it out, laminated it, put it in a binder. This is my business plan. And then I also did the same thing for my personal plan as well. I told myself, usually when I create these game plans, I'm planning for a year, I do a really great job of creating the plan, but I never actually go back and look at the plan that often, or as often as I should. So I asked myself, what way can I increase the frequency of me actually reviewing my plan? And printing it, putting it in a binder, laminating it was that way. I also created a vision board. All right, let's run through these each very quickly. First one here, I have a goal to run a marathon. This is a house in Nantucket. I want to own property, multiple properties one day, and one day I would love to have a property in Nantucket. Turning a setback into a comeback. I had a setback in NLCA. I want to turn that into a comeback. Personal development. I want this to be my brand. I want this to be the thing that I'm known for. Jesus. I want to grow closer to God and Jesus. Family. I want to continue to grow closer with my mom, my dad, my brothers, my wife. That is a huge goal of mine as well. All right, here's another sick property. This one's in Cabo. This is a sick boat. One day I want to be a boat owner as well. I love boat trips. I love fishing. I want that to be something that I strive for as well. Another beautiful house. This guy, I like his body. No homo, I like his body. This is Africa. I want to do a trip to Africa one day. Moral authority. This is one of my words for 2025, moral authority. Basically, moral authority means you walk in a room and people respect you. Yes, I put Trump on here. Why? American values is a part of my brand moving forward. It's something I've been shy to speak about, something I've been quiet about. It's something I think is very important. Traditional American values. That's why I have that on here. Real estate investor. I've already talked about how I want to have a collection of homes, but I also want to be a real estate investor as well. This is Australia, bucket list vacation for me. 1 million. That is a goal that I've already accomplished, but I'm starting a new venture. I've kind of already talked about that. I want to hit 7 figures with that new venture in the first year. This is a beautiful house in Austin, Texas. This is a Rolls Royce. I've always liked Rolls Royces, would love to own one day. This is just a cool house. This is Andy Frisella speaking on stage. I want to speak on stage more. Brand is another big word for me in 2025. Wyoming, this is Wyoming. I would love to take my parents there one day. I know that's on their bucket list and I would love to accomplish that. And that's me and my beautiful wife. Obviously, I want to grow closer to her as well. We are going to go over my biggest learning lessons from 2024. It has been my most challenging year of business yet, so I have a lot of takeaways. Hopefully you can take these lessons and never have to go through any of the hardships that I went through, and you can just apply these right away. So let's go ahead and break it down. Number 1, personal development is the foundation. Earlier on in my career, personal development was huge. Your fitness, your mindset, are you growing and expanding? Your connection to God, your connection to your wife or to your husband or any significant other or relationships that you have. You gotta treat these things seriously. Everything is integrated. It is not separate, right? If your marriage isn't going well, you're not going to be maximizing in business to the best of your degree. Learning lesson number 2, God is real and you must have a relationship with God. Truthfully, is an uncomfortable statement for me to say because I've never been a really godly individual in terms of going to church and reading the Bible and studying the Word. Through the hardships that I've gone through, a staff member this year recommended that I need to create a relationship with God, that these things that are happening in my life are happening for a reason. And if I have a connection with God, right, I will see that reason and push through. And on the other side of that, I'll be more aligned to God's vision for me and my life. And I truly do believe that. My goal for 2025 is to go to church at least once a month. I've been reading the Bible 5 to 6 days a week. And then I've also been praying 5 to 6 days a week as well. Takeaway number 3, branding is more important than sales. What? You would never catch me saying that. Like, even a year ago, I probably would never say that. I've always been known as a sales guy. I've always been known that sales is my strength. 2024 was hard for the coaching space. And what I noticed is, and I kind of did an analysis here, the coaching companies that did really well had great brands and had very high margin type programs, like group coaching programs opposed to one-to-one coaching programs. And what I realized is, man, I don't have a brand that can withstand economic hard times, right? Because when times get tough economically, the customer, the consumer, is going to slash a lot of expenses. But if they feel very connected to their coaches because their coach has a brand, right? They will highly consider not cutting that expense. Branding is more important than sales. Branding makes sales easier. When you don't have a brand, sales is harder. It's an uphill battle, no matter how good you are at that skill set. All right, next one here. It's better to have a small team doing more than a large team doing less. Okay, this is a big learning lesson for me. Earlier in the year, I laid off a bunch of staff members, right? My staff was kind of inflated. We had a lot of staff members. It cut into the margin. And truthfully, I don't think we needed that many people. When we hit that plateau at 4.5 million was the highest we did in a single year. When we hit that plateau, I hired a bunch of people thinking that this would push us past that. When it didn't, I should have recognized because it started cutting into the profit, I should have realized hey, this isn't working. There were a lot of people that weren't actually even doing anything. And that's probably because there wasn't enough work to go around, which is my fault. All right, next takeaway here. It's better to focus on few things and go all in. Must eliminate the mundane tasks and improve focus on revenue generating activities. So one thing I noticed, and I wish I did better in 2024, is I spent a lot of time on little quick tasks. And sometimes I would start my day and I would just do all the little quick tasks because I get to check it off quickly and I get that little dopamine hit. But when you pull back and think about that, that doesn't actually move your business forward. What I need to be better at is I need to be better at delegating the things that don't matter and ruthlessly focusing on the things that do, and spending majority of my time day in and day out focusing on those things. All right, next one here. Focus on product constantly, not just when it needs it, okay? So I fell into a habit of focusing on NLCA's product and improving the NLCA product when it needed it. Like, let's say we got a handful of bad reviews, or we see that we're getting consistent piece of feedback on this one thing, then I would jump in and fix the product. What I should have done, and what I'm going to do moving forward, is always be improving the product, right? Always find your weaknesses, always try to get ahead of the curve, right? Always try to adapt to new trends or things that may, where the industry is going, right? It's also going to reduce your workload. So what I noticed is when I would wait until the product needed me, I would have this big project and it would be really overwhelming and daunting. And it would be hard for me to, get started on it or complete it because I waited so long and it's this big beast now. But if I always was just working on it, right, it would never actually get to the point where it's this massive project. Okay, next learning lesson here. Make long-term decisions based on brand. For example, signing quality clients. If you have somebody on a sales call, they're willing to pay you, but you know they're a terrible client, you know that they're not going to show up, you know that they're not going to put in the work, that's going to reflect on your brand in the long haul. They're going to leave a negative review, they're going to spread bad word of mouth, and guess what? Sure, maybe you got $2,000 out of the deal, right? But now you just lost a large percentage of people that could have became your clients because this client who should have never been signed in the first place is spreading bad information about your program. I came from a family that didn't have money. I came from a family where mom and dad worked. I came from a family where it was cutting coupons, money doesn't grow on trees, the whole 9 yards, right? But when I got to the point where I was making money and I learned how to sell, I focused a lot on just cashing checks and seeing what records I can break month in and month out. So I wish if I can go back and speak to my younger self, I could give them this particular takeaway. All right, the next learning lesson here, business-wise, is to trust your gut. I had 3 or 4 instances this year where I had a gut feeling about, mostly about people, like the people that I had on my team. I just had a gut feeling like, man, I don't know, like there's something off about this person, or, you know, I don't have a good feeling about this person, and I never listened to that, right? And all of those people that I had a bad feeling about ended up doing something that hurt the company, and I had to fire them. And it's hard to trust your gut because you don't actually have proof to show that they are doing these things, and that's the hard part. Almost always my gut has been 100% right, and I need to trust that gut more in 2025. I do have some personal, but really it's more so what am I letting go of in 2025 on a personal level. All right, so number 1, using drinking as a vice. Now, when I say drinking as a vice, that sounds bad. It sounds like I'm an alcoholic. I'm not. I like to have cocktails on the weekend, right? But I'm not like drinking every single day. It's under the notion of stressful week, I deserve this. And I don't like that. I want to develop a relationship with alcohol because I do like having cocktails. I do like the experience of drinking with friends. I want it to be more celebratory. I want it to be more of, I'm doing this because I like it, not because I need it. All right, next one here. Regular unhealthy eating and believing that calories and macros are the only thing that matter. Quality food is what matters. So being a fitness coach, or a former fitness coach, I used to preach to my clients calories and macros, calories and macros. You can fit foods in that you enjoy as long as you're tracking your calories and macros. And that's true. That's going to get people results. But at least for me, it got to the point where I didn't include any healthy foods, and I was only ever looking for foods that I enjoyed to fit into my calories and macros. And obviously that has detriments to your health. So this year I want to focus on quality foods. All right, next one. Watching a ton of YouTube content that doesn't serve me. Often I'll catch myself with a YouTube video on, listening about football, and I don't need to be doing that, right? I can replace that with a personal development video if I want to watch a video. Or I don't even have to have a video on, I can be working, right? So I want to do less of that. The other thing I'm letting go is I really want to work on conflict resolution with my wife. Now, once again, that's another one that sounds bad. It sounds like we fight all the time. We don't, but we are both alphas. Caitlin's an alpha, I'm an alpha, right? We tend to want to butt heads about that. So one thing I want to get better at is communicating calmly under conflict to find a solution that's best for her and best for me. All right, negative self-talk. I noticed that I can take action despite negative self-talk, but I'm very hard on myself. I can accomplish an amazing feat, and I don't ever like to give myself credit. I don't, celebrate it. In my mind, I'm still like, oh, you could have done better. I'm very hard on myself, and that's good because it leads you to be successful, but I definitely need to learn how to celebrate wins more and be more positive to myself. All right, next one, not putting me first in business. I consider myself a good CEO and a good leader, especially when I have staff members. And I really think a big part of that is I'm very selfless, and I will make decisions in the betterment of the staff and the team, which sometimes hurts me personally. And I think there are some times where you have to put your foot down and make a decision in your own best interest as well. Now, if you do that too much and you're only making decisions in your best interest, you're not a good leader, right? You have to be selfless. You have to make sacrifices for the team. But I think you can go too far in that, and I think I did. All right, another one, not taking time to think and brainstorm. When I took time to actually think and reflect and brainstorm this year, it changed some things, and it helps me get clarity on a lot of things as well. And I think I would drown myself in work when I know things needed to change, or just in general, I have a propensity to work a lot and to drown myself in work. Not taking time to go for walks. I know it's a simple thing that can really help me with my health. I know this year I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes, and I know if I just took a 10-minute walk every day, that definitely could have made significant impact to helping. Because what I would do is I'd wake up, work out, and then I'd get in the office and I would sit in my chair all day long, and that's not healthy, right? So I need to take at least a break a day to go for a walk. Okay, here's a big one, and this is just being transparent and candid. Friends that do drugs. I do have a lot of friends that fall under that category. There were years that I would partake in party drugs. Honestly, I don't regret it because I did create a lot of great memories doing that and doing the partying, and I got it out of my system, but I'm coming up on a year of not touching a drug, and I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want that to be who I am. I don't want that to be a part of my life. I'm going in a different direction with my life. I'm really focusing on becoming the best version of myself in all aspects of life, I also want to create a family in the upcoming years. And yeah, I just want to mature in that area of my life. Abusing caffeine is the next one. I would say ever since starting NLCA, I was a caffeine abuser for sure. Multiple cups of coffee a day, like sometimes 3 cups of coffee a day. I would take shots of pre-workout. I would say the past 3 months, I've only had 1 cup of coffee a day, and I feel great. I don't feel like I need it. I'm not like pulled to having more and abusing it. So I feel like I'm already taking steps in that direction. Also getting a cold plunge. That's been a great caffeine replacement. So when I get tired, usually I get tired around 2-3 p.m. I get a little bit of a crash. I'll pop in the cold plunge real quick, wakes me up, gets the dopamine release, and then allows me to continue to focus without having to abuse caffeine. All right, the next one here, fear being the main driver of my success. Oof, that's a good one. So fear and like dark energy, proving people wrong, being fearful, being fearful that I'll be average, being fearful of not being successful. A lot of that has been a huge driver of me working and pushing and achieving. And that's great. I don't want to lose that. This isn't me saying that I want to lose that side of me, because I really believe that that dark energy pushes you to be successful. I just don't want it to be the main driver of my success. I want the main driver of my success to be love, right? I want to create an impact, create a legacy. And I want to balance that with the dark energy of proving people wrong and more of that fuck you energy. So that's something I'll be working on as well. Thinking there is something wrong with me. I don't know why that is still a thing. I don't know if you guys have heard that story, but when I was younger, 18, 19, 20, I always thought something was wrong with me. My grandma has bipolar disorder. I learned about that, learned that that is inherited, it's genetic, thought that I was gonna get it, had a whole freak out about it, would go to different psychiatrists, would tell them, hey, do I have this, do I have that? And really I was being like a hypochondriac with mental disorders. And basically they just told me like, chill, you're just anxious. Lots of learning lessons, lots of takeaways. All right, y'all, that is it. We have come to the end of the video. I appreciate you guys listening. I'm excited to dub these, meaning at the end of this year, at the end of 2025, come back to this video and see how much of this we actually accomplished. All right, appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do, because you don't want to miss out and see if I do accomplish these or if I don't accomplish these. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.